So this is the part 2 of the Glassmorphism design that we have just started, and we're going to take a look at the CSS in this one, and if we have a lot of time we're going to jump into the JavaScript, and then we're going to see how we can actually toggle the background of the video that I just presented to you. So this is the second part. If you haven't actually watched the first part, you should go to the comment section or the description box so that you can get a link to the first part and then go watch it first before coming to this particular one. Okay, so let's go in and then begin to work on the CSS in this one. All right, so the next thing I want to work on right here is going to be the container, and to grab onto that you're going to just say container, and you want to, first of all, I want to give this a width, and this is just basically going to be 100%. And then after that, I'm going to give this a max width. So this is just basically going to be set to 1200 pixels, and that is it for the container in there. So the next one I want to work on is going to be the theme toggle. To do that, I'm going to just do theme dash toggle, and what I want to do with that is, first of all, I want to set the position to absolute. So we're going to just do position and we'll set that to absolute, and after that we set the top margin or the space at the top. We're going to just set that to 20 pixels, and after that we're going to set the right 20 pixels. So that is it on that line. So down here, the next one to work on right here is going to be to just reference to the toggle labels. So to do that, I'm going to just do toggle. So this is going to be toggle, not theme toggle, but toggle label. So it's going to be dash label, and these classes that just reference it to, if you take a look at this particular place, you should be able to like find them. All right, so this is like the toggle label that I'm just referencing to right now. So what you want to give to that as style is, first of all, we want to set the width in here. So this is going to be width, and let's set that to 60 pixels. And then after that, we're going to set the height for it, and let's say that the height is actually going to be 30 pixels. So it's going to be 30 pixels. So there's going to be a couple of things to really add here. What I'm going to do is just copy and paste the rest of the code to add to the toggle label right here, and I'll proceed from there. All right, so I do have the rest of the style copied to the clipboard for as far as the toggle label is concerned. So I want to paste that in here, and what I just pasted is just from here down to this particular place, and all we did is nothing other than to just set the background right here. So we're setting that to the following background color that you are really seeing, and we're using the RGB right here, while the last value here is just for the opacity. All right, and then we're just going to be using the blur effect in here, right? And then after that, we'll set the radius of that particular label right there to 50 pixels, and then we're displaying that as flex. We're centering the alignment, the items right here, and then we're justifying the content to space around, and then adding a padding of 5 pixels, and then position absolute, and then we're changing the cursor so that when we bring our mouse button close to it, it changes to something that looks like a human hand. And then after that, we added a box shadow to that. So I want to save the changes, and if you take a look in here and then refresh, you see that this is just basically coming together a little bit, guys. So look at what we're talking about. We should be able to like toggle this as we move along. That's just basically what that is. So we want to take that further to the next level, and that is just to get down here. So I think what I want to do next is, let me take a look at that again. I want to like turn this to white colors, and to do that is really very simple. So down here we do have a class that is actually called I'm going to just make use of toggle label, and I want to get into these two things that we do have in here, or these three things in here. So that means I'm going to just make use of toggle label, and I'm going to move into the I section. So to do that, to get in here, I'm going to put a dot and then paste that to the clipboard, and I'm going to add an I right here, and then we can go ahead and then do that. So what I want to do, first of all, I want to set the color to something like white. So I'm going to just do white right here, and I'm going to just set the font size to maybe 14 pixels or whatever that appeals to you. All right, so after that, we want to set the z index. So I'm going to just do index, and I'm going to just set that to maybe something like 2. All right, so we'll send that to something like 2 in there, and that is just that on that line. So the next thing I want to work on is going to be the toggle label bar right there. All right, so of course we have a class that is actually called toggle bar set of label right here. So I'm going to change this to bar, and then within here we want to add a couple of styles to this. So the first one I want to do is to position that to absolute. So I'm going to say absolute, and after that we want to work on the width. So let's say that the width is actually going to be set to something like 20 pixels or 22, let's say 22 pixels right there. And after that we're going to set the height. So this is going to be height, and I think we should basically like set it to the same amount because we want that to be circle. So if we do that, I want to set the background to that, and let the background be equal to something like white. It's going to be white right here, and after that we need to set the border radius. So we're going to just do border dash radius that, and you can go ahead and set that to, this is going to be 50%. All right, so that's going to just make that a perfect circle, since we have the same height right here and then the same width right here. So if we do 50% right here, it's going to just make that a perfect circle. So after that, we'll just select in here and I will set that to 5 pixels. And I think the last thing is to add transition in here. So we're going to just say transition, and what I want to set for the transition, we're going to just say transform, and we're going to just basically transform that in, this is going to be 0.3 seconds, and the type of transition I want to add is actually called a ease, and that is just that on that line. So if you save the changes, of course, if you take a look in here, I'm going to say that these are going to actually turn to white, and we should be able to like see this right here, right? So it turns to buffer circle right there. So the next thing we want to work on is going to be to work on the toggle itself, and the toggle is actually this that we are already seeing right here, right? It's going to just help to like toggle the stuff for us, and to do that we can just do that down here. So I want to take a look at that from here first of all, and we did have a place where we call something like toggle. Look at this ID called a toggle right here. So I want to copy the ID, and if we get in here, I'm going to just do a hash because this is basically an ID, and I want to give this a couple of stuff right here. So if we do display, first of all, I'm going to just set that to none. All right, so I'm going to just hide it right there. So if we save the changes right here, and then we get in here, if we refresh, this box here should be hidden by now. So if we refresh, we see that we are no longer seeing the that particular box in here, but we're going to just bring it back as we move along. So the next thing we want to do right here is to work on our dashboard. So if I do dashboard, let's make sure I type that correctly. It's going to be dash, and we should just like basically type this correctly, otherwise we're going to have some errors right there. We want to get the style for that of the dashboard right now. So within this dashboard right here, first of all, I want to set the display to something like grid. So we set that to grid right here, and the next thing we want to do is to like, I'm gonna just do grid dash template right here. This is gonna be templates colon right here. So this is gonna be colon. Let's make sure I type colon correctly. So this is gonna be colon, and what I want to do with the colon right here is just go ahead and just set this to repeat. It's gonna be repeat, and then within this we are going to just set that to auto dash fit, and we're going to introduce a comma, and then we're going to just do something like our min max right here. So this is going to be min max, and we'll go ahead and then set that to, this is going to be 250 pixel of course, and then the next one is actually going to be 1 fr right here. So that's just a fraction in there. All right, so we have that in there first of all, and then down here what I want to set is the gap between them, because if we save this right here and then we'll refresh, you see that nothing is actually happening here for now. I think we just need to make sure this is actually correct. So if we get back in here and then we look at, this is actually a class, copy that and make sure that it's actually the same thing that we are just working on right here. So we do have that right there. Then if we get back right here, fresh here, this is actually happening, guys. So but let's just move on. Maybe we'll actually don't have to like see anything yet on that place. So the next thing I want to set is to set, I think I will set the gap. Let's set the gap first of all. So the gap between them is just basically going to be 20 pixels, and then I'm going to just do margin. Let's set a margin top, and maybe the margin top, I'm going to just basically set that to something like 40 pixels, and that should be just basically the dot on that particular line in there. So this should be margin. Let's make sure I type this correctly, and then if we refresh in here, all right, so that's something that kind of happened, and that's just basically the margin that just came in right there. All right, so I think the next thing I want to do right here is just work on the card itself. All right, so if we get in here, we're going to see that we do have these cards that we have in here. So if we go back in here, not really here, but within the CSS, I want to do a dot and then paste that. Then what I want to do right here is concerning the card right here, there's a couple of styles to really type. So I want to copy and paste that. All right, so I do have that copied to the clipboard, and I want to paste that right here. Then what I basically want to do is just show you that. So this is where I just started pasting the stuff I just pasted right here. So we're just basically going to set the background to this with an opacity of 0.1 in there. And then we do have a filter also set to 10 pixels just to make that a little bit blur. And then we'll have a border radius set to 15 pixels. We have padding, we have text alignment, and then we have even the text color. And we have a overflow position also right there, and then also have a border that we set in here with an opacity of 0.2, and then a box shadow down here. All right, and the cursor of this pointer, of course you know what that is, just basically going to convert that to something like a human hand. And then on a hover, this is the style we want to apply. And after that, we do have a card icon that we just basically want to add, because you take a look in here, take a look in here. You see that we do have some icons. I don't know if we do have any icons based on what I'm basically seeing right here, but what I think that we're going to actually have in here with what you have actually added so far. First of all, let's check down here, and okay, this is just basically a class that I do have in here called a card icon, right? So if you take a look here, you're going to see that the styling is going to actually extend down here to this card icon. All right, so that's just basically what that means. All right, okay, so the next thing we did right here is to style the h1 and also style the paragraph in there. So if we save the changes in here and then we'll try to like basically refresh it here, it's going to look a little bit better than what it used to be. So this is how it is looking so far on this particular page. All right, so as we move along, maybe we're going to use media query to just like maybe align that one after the other. But this is just how it is, guys. So as you move your mouse button around it, it's going to just be showing that particular effect that you're really seeing right here. All right, so the next thing we want to work on right here is, so I think it's just basically going to be the glass effect. So if you scroll a little bit down, right here you see, you don't even have to even scroll, but if you just check, you're going to see that we do have classes that we call the glass effect attached to all of those classes that we do have in here. All right, so we want to like drop some styles to it so that it's going to just look like something like a glass. And this is just, I want you to take a look at the right hand side in here. That's just basically where you're going to notice the effect as I try to add the code. So what I want to do here is if I go to my style, I want to add the style in here. So this is dot glass effect, and I'm just basically going to set that to absolute. This is the height, the width is also here, and then the background is right here, right, with an opacity, and we do have a margin, I mean a border radius in there, then the filter blur, and even the Z index right here. All right, so I want to save the changes in here, and then if I refresh here, you notice that that's something that looks like that of a glass effect on this particular page. So that's just basically what that is. And pretty much I think we're getting to the end of the CSS right here, except that we'll really need to, because the first one on getting to this place, you see that they are actually positioned in such a way that it's just cards that are just lying next to each other. So we want to do that, and to do this, we're just basically going to do this with our CSS. All right, so to do that, we can do that within our CSS. So if we get down here, we're going to go ahead and then do that within this particular place. And actually, before we start working on the media query right here, of course we're going to do at media right here, and I'm going to just basically do a couple of things in here at a later time. But then I think I'm not really satisfied with the way that this is actually looking so far. All right, I believe that that must have been something that we did, because when I was doing this earlier, I wasn't actually having this kind of error. So I want us to take a look at the dashboard again. All right, and if you take a look here, so I'm thinking that this should be, so what I want to do right here is, so I just want to check this on Google. Let me just copy this and then check that on Google. Maybe this particular property is not actually correct. So if we go back in here, and I want to just do this CSS property on that up, and take a look at that from the, okay, so from what I'm seeing right here, that should be an S right there. It shouldn't just be the way that it is right here. So we should add something like S. It should be called a create template columns, something of that nature. All right, so what I'm going to do, let me just go ahead and add something like S right here, and you see that the color kind of a changed. So this is probably the correct one to use. So if we go back in here, and then we'll go back right here, if we refresh, better. So you see that that's a kind of a divide those stuff in the way that they should actually be. All right, so even without having all of these things that we have down here, so if I cut this off right here from this page and save the changes right here, so we should still be able to have those things in column. So I have the changes in there, and then for refreshing here, you see that we do have this. So I was expecting to see this earlier before now. All right, so that is that. I'm going to just bring this back. This just the style for the glass effect, and then making that those cards look beautiful. All right, so it's back right now, right? So the next thing we want to do is, like, if we like resize this page, want it to look a certain way, if we bring it down. I know it looks like responsive this way, but depending on the amount of the screen that is really available, we just basically want to, I think it's really responsible, guys, but I still need to like add a couple of things within this particular place. All right, so down here, and I want to do that as media query right here. All right, so the first screen that I basically want to target is going to be that of the 768 right there. All right, so I'm going to just do max dash width, and I want to just basically go ahead and then target 768 pixels. I'm going to do px right here. And then within this place, what I just basically want to do is to work on the grid template. And to do that, we can just do dot dashboard, and within the dashboard right here. So what I want to do is I want to copy this line in here. This is really, yeah. So it's just basically going to look somewhat like this. I'm going to copy this, and if we get down here, we're going to go ahead and then paste that right here. All right. So this is going to be grid. We need to would have also copied the property. So this is going to be grid. So let's just say grid, and we're going to just do columns. This time around, we should be able to remember to type that correctly. All right, so this is going to be grid template columns, and I'm going to just use that repeating there, but what I want to do is to just specifically target the fraction in here. All right, so I'm going to just do this and change this to 2fr, and I don't need this extra colon right here, I mean an extra bracket in here. So this is going to be 2. I'm going to just do 1fr right this, and that's just basically going to do it for me, guys. So that is it for the first screen that we want to target in there. And what I want to do is I want to copy this and try to like modify that for smaller screens. So if I paste this in here, I would like to change this to something like 480 pixels. So this is going to be 4, and we'll just add a 0 here for 480 pixels right there. And what I want to do is gonna just basically take this value away, right? And this is going to just be 1fr right there, so one fraction within that particular place. So this is just basically how it is right now. And if we refresh this place right here, we won't actually notice much changes, but as you try to resize that, see how it's actually resized, right? So we'll have 2 columns here, and that should just be that. So if we bring that up, it's going to just like spread out the way that it's just basically spreading out right here. All right, so it's responsive now. So no matter the kind of screen that you use to try to view this, you're going to just get a better result, guys. It's responsive depending on the kind of a screen that you're really using. All right, so that looks a lot better, guys. And if you got it up to this level, congratulations. And we're going to take a look at how we can now begin to like toggle this to be able to change the background at a later time, and we're going to do that with something like JavaScript. So but for now, we're going to just basically stop right here. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.